3.2, Graphing with a T-chart. In 3.1, we started graphing with a T-chart, and we're going to continue, but this time it'll be different because we are going to be graphing, we're going to be choosing our own numbers. In 3.1, they chose the numbers for you. And so what I'm going to recommend is that you use -1, 0, and 1. And these work well, except in a couple of special situations, and we'll see those in a minute. If you're choosing it for just x, then it makes it a little bit easier here. -1 plus y equals -2. When I move that 1 over, I add it. So it's going to be +1. And so this will give me -1. Then we'll do it with the 0. 0 plus y equals -2. Y equals -2. Do it again. 1 plus y equals -2. Y will equal -3 because we're going to subtract 1. So we get 0. Subtract 1 to keep it equal. Then we have to graph this. And so let me pull up a different color. These are our ordered pairs here. We have 1, -1. So starting at the 0, 0, I go -1, -1, and put a dot. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work out with on my screen. It's going to be close. Then we've got 0, -2. So we go here. 1, -3. And when you're graphing on paper, you're going to need to be sure and... Okay, it's going to take me a while to get used to this. There we go. You'll want to be sure that you're using a straight edge to draw a line through those dots. Well, that's a little bit off. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to do this. Hopefully I'll get better here in a little bit. But that helps you know if you've got the right line, is that all 3 dots will line up. And then your line should be going through these other corners. So my line is way off. This little machine moved when here, let's see if we can do a better job. Well, everything keeps moving on me. Well, on your paper will be better, hopefully. Let's look at another one. Now, this is a situation where you're going to have to choose very specific numbers for x. If you don't, if you choose 1, let's see what happens if we choose 1. We have 1 minus 4y equals -8. Subtract the 1. Divide by 4, or -4. And you're going to have a fraction that we can't graph. Not with just our paper and pencil here. So what we want to do is, we don't want to do this. We're going to choose the number that is with y. Okay? Because what will happen, if we're choosing numbers for x, then y is what we're going to get by itself. Remember when we did this at the end of chapter 2, when we were rearranging equations and we got y alone? That's the variable we want to get alone. And so if we choose numbers that are multiples of 4, so if we choose 4 and -4, then when we add and divide, we'll come out with whole numbers. And then I always like to choose 0. So now let's go ahead and do this again. Here I have 4 minus 4y equals -8. Subtract the 4 from both sides. divide by the -4, and when x is 4, then y is 3. Then let's use -4. Add the 4 to both sides. So +4. Now the signs are different. We subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. Negative. Divide by the -4. And y is going to equal 1. If we use 0 for x, divide by the -4, and y is going to equal 2. Come to your graph. Always start at the center, and we are going to move right for the x or left, and then we're going to go up and down. So if I go over to the 4 and up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, and then 0, 2. And then I'll have to try and be a little bit more careful with my straight edge here. And you want to get right in the corners if you can. And connect these dots. And you see if it's going over 4 up 1, going over 4 up 1, it should be crossing in that corner of that box. Okay, let's look at another one. Alright, pick some numbers for our t-chart. Let's start with 1. We've got y equals 1/3 times x, which is going to be 1. Y equals 1/3 plus 5. Y equals 5 1/3. Again, this is too hard, so I don't want to do this. I'll focus on my equation there. I don't want to do this. I want to use numbers that are the denominator. So I'm going to choose 3 and -3. Because remember, when we multiply a fraction and its reciprocal, we get 1, and that's what we want for x. We want this to become a whole number. So we could use multiples of 3 if we did 1/3 times 6 over 1. We would end up with 2. Either way that we can get a whole number. So I'm going to choose 3s, and again, my 0. So we've got 1 equals 1/3 times x plus 5. Drop in the 3. 1/3 times 3 is 1. And y is going to equal 6. Y equals 1/3, and we're going to do -3 this time. So y is going to equal -1. So y would equal 4. And then we'll do y equals 1/3 times 0. Then we'll go to graph it. Starting at the origin, we will go over 3 and up 6 and put a dot. -3 to the left and up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 and 5. And you can see they line up. On paper, you're really going to need to use a straight edge, a ruler, or even your ID, driver's license, so that you can get a nice straight line. Okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to pause it and move this graph down a little bit. Okay, let's move to our next examples. X equals -5. Now we've only got one variable here, and usually for a line we have two variables. And really this is a linear equation. We'll have two variables. We just have one here. If we use our t-chart, it tells me x can only be -5. I'm just going to choose anything I want to. For y, 0 is already good. Let's choose 5 and -2. So I want you to go ahead and graph this. This is now we're going to do a little bit of practice here. So pause the video, graph it, and then check to see if yours matches mine. Okay. Got -5 and 0. -5 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And -5 and -2. Take my straight edge. Okay, so now you can check it. Another thing to notice that we're drawing lines. So lines go on forever. They really should have arrows. You're not going to be able to put the arrows on like when you do the course compass homework, but it's just information for you to know. Let's look and see what happens if we have just y equals. Let's do y equals 3. If we have y equals 3 and we do our t-chart, well, it's telling us y can only be 3. So we can use anything we want to for x. So let's graph this one. And again, go ahead and pause it. Pause the video. And do your graphing and then come back to the video. 0, 3. We don't move right or left, we just go up. 1, 2, 3. Right 3, up 3. Left 3, up 3. Or left 5. Then we're going to draw a line. Okay, so what do you notice about these lines? The x equals -5 is vertical. It crosses x at the number. So when it says x equals a number, this is what we're looking at, a vertical line. If it says y equals, then here's our y. It goes across the y, and it is a horizontal line. So when it says y equals a number, it's going to be a horizontal line. That goes across y at the number. This is important. If you'll write this down on a 3x5 card and keep it in front of you when you're doing your homework and your test, this will help you quite a bit. One other thing to remember is that you might see something like this. Y minus 8 equals 0. Simplify it. Get y by itself. And then if y equals a number, it's going to be this horizontal line that's going to go across the y at the positive 8. There's also a video that explains how to do the graphing on Course Compass. So watch it before you do the homework. All right, good luck. See you later.